Now, there is no sincere love as the love of food, said a very famous Irishman, George Bernard Shaw. And I'm pretty sure we all here may agree that India is a food-loving nation, with each region having its own special cuisines. If we broadly divided the entire food sector in India, it would be looking something like this. The organized format takes up about 30-35% of the market, and the unorganized format takes about 65-70% of the market. Now, the organized format is then further divided into dining, bars and lounges, quick service restaurants, and the unorganized formats are the dhabas, roadside eateries, and the street stalls. Now, Indians traditionally, compared to the West, were never very big on eating out or food delivery. But all that is changing now. The pace of growth of the restaurant industry in the last 10 years or so has been enormous and is expected to do so for the coming future. Now, we can see here from the total eat out market, 75% of this market is still dominated by dining out. And from the remaining 25% of this market, 11% belongs to the delivery market and approximately 14% belongs to the takeaway market. Now, technology and most importantly, technological innovations. Now, the availability of cheap internet paired with the advancement of technology gave birth to a lot of food tech startups. Food tech startups like cloud-based POS companies for restaurants, and also if some of you are aware, there was a company called Tasty Khana that was the first mover in online delivery with the last mile delivery. So Tasty Khana came, and then there was Just Eats, and then there was also Tiny Owl, and more so the names that we are more familiar with now today, Swiggy, Zomato, and Uber Eats. In a very short span of time, Swiggy, Zomato, and Uber Eats in approximately 5 years are both tied up with more than 50,000 restaurants across India, across 500 cities, and the delivery volumes look something like this. Swiggy, Zomato both are doing anywhere between 12 to 15 lakh orders per day, and their monthly volumes look 30 to 50 million orders per month. Uber Eats, the latest entrant in this, is slowly catching up at approximately 8 to 10 million. This massive growth in online food industry is giving birth to yet another disruptive phenomenon. Welcome to the Netflix of food, the cloud kitchens. So, cloud kitchens, delivery kitchens, ghost kitchens, virtual kitchens, and even the internet kitchen. How many of you here have heard either of these terms in the last 1 year? Great. Pretty much what I expected. But what exactly are these cloud kitchens? So, cloud kitchen is primarily a restaurant kitchen that only accepts incoming orders via an online model or through the telephone. Again, via an online aggregator or via your own setup. A cloud kitchen necessarily has no storefront nor any dine-in facilities. Let me explain this to you further with an example of your favorite restaurant. Now, when you enter the restaurant, take away the dining and all the fancy furniture. Now, take away the reception and all the common areas. Now you see the people who are standing there, the waiters, servers, slowly let's start moving them aside as well. What are we left with? We're left with primarily the kitchen area, whose prime responsibility is production unit, only to accept online orders. Now, while the trend of calling your favorite restaurant, nearby restaurant for home delivery has always been prevalent, the influx of companies like Zomato, Swiggy, and Uber Eats has organized the whole food online system to a very structured way. To further simplify this concept of cloud kitchens, I'm going to give you an example. Now, let's take the case of a Mr. Rajiv. Mr. Rajiv has spent 2 weeks in Japan to understand his favorite food, sushi. He's now back into India and ready with a great concept in mind to open his restaurant. So what does Rajiv typically need to do next? He needs to look for a great location. Now, considering he's looking for sushi lovers, it would definitely have to be a high-profile area, right? Right. Next, after that, he looks for a great interior designer, builds a great restaurant, and now gets waiting staff, service staff, and complete the entire thing, obviously with a great kitchen and chef as well. Now, let's meet Sanjeev. Sanjeev has the same love for sushi and wants to sell and make just sushi. Sanjeev has to do much less in the year 2019, the era of cloud kitchens. Sanjeev needs no fancy location, Sanjeev needs no great furniture, neither does Sanjeev need any waiting staff or any service staff, because all Sanjeev wants to do is provide great sushi to people. Of course, he still has to build his own kitchen and get a great chef on board with him, but that's about it. Sanjeev was able to build his kitchen at approximately 10% of the cost that Rajiv built his traditional restaurant. Now let's try and understand the key features of the cloud kitchens. As I already explained that Sanjeev had lesser hassles because of a lower capital investment and lower recurring cost as Rajiv did. Now hub and spoke model. A cloud kitchen works on a hub and spoke model like the cloud kitchen or the delivery kitchen being the hub, the spoke being the service aggregators which are working all around it. Consumer base that increases today, online ordering has made life much easier from the restaurants per se, from the fact that all they need to focus on is just food. The most important thing to reaching out, for example, at my own restaurant, Cafe Arabia, right? So we used to have it at an average about 50, 60 orders, for which we had about 4, 5 delivery boys. Once online ordering started, we started moving to about 100 orders, 150 orders, 200 orders per outlet. What happens in this case is it's almost impossible for us to be able to focus on food as well as create the entire logistic chain for as well. So here the delivery partners now come into place and take care of the huge fleet of delivery boys needed to process our orders. Tech-enabled business. Now with the advent of technology into our business, we're able to simplify process. What I mean by that is now instead of the traditional earlier methods that we followed, we have online orders from these aggregators that directly come into our POS. We don't really need to punch in orders that come in. So imagine when you have 150, 200 orders to come in, and imagine punching in every single order into your system. Cumbersome and lengthy, maybe not required as well. Also, the huge fleet of delivery boys that are controlled is all done through the same tech-enabled aggregator app. Most importantly, the restaurant now has the option to multi-brand from his same kitchen premises with another brand that he could do. Let me again give you an example for this. Let's talk about a Mr. Ramodarai. Mr. Ramodarai owns a delivery kitchen by the name of Dosa Hut, and he makes and sells some excellent dosas and idlis. But Mr. Ramodarai now gets ambitious and he wants to start selling Mexican food. Mr. Ramodarai thinks selling tacos and nachos will be great for his menu as well. But what Mr. Ramodarai could do, instead of adding these items to his existing menu at Dosa Hut, Mr. Ramodarai now has the option of creating a parallel brand from his same kitchen to now start serving Mexican food. Let me ask all of you here a question. If you had to order tacos or nachos or even burritos, what restaurant name would you rather choose? Would you rather choose a Dosa Hut or would you choose something like a burrito cafe? Exactly my point. So now what we are seeing with a lot of restaurants, they're able to add within their own kitchen infrastructure and premises another multiple brand so that it enhances their operations and also makes their costs more viable. Now based on the same trend, I would like to talk to you about a company called Rebel Foods, formed in 2011 with the Fasos brand. Now all of you must have heard of Fasos. Fasos expanded quickly all across India and opened about 50 outlets with Sequoia Capital's backing. Unfortunately, due to high rentals and expenses, Fasos had to shut over a period of 3 years. Now, I'll just give you a small perspective of what happened here. Fasos' sale was basically a delivery sale and a takeaway sale. So even though they had 50 physical outlets, after shutting, when they had gone and done their research and thesis when they removed, they were able to understand that more than 70% of their customers had never actually seen a Fasos physical store. They had no idea where the food was coming from. Then Fasos came back armed with the cloud kitchen model. And they own 10 brands from the same kitchen. I don't know how many of you might know, but Bero's Biryani and Fasos and Oven Story actually are coming out of the same kitchen. For all you know, the person who makes your wraps at Fasos is also the same person who probably makes your biryani from Bero's in the same kitchen. That's what Rebel was able to do. So Rebel today claims to be the world's largest internet food company with 1,600 internet restaurants across the country with 268 physical cloud kitchens from where they're running multiple brands in approximately 20 cities and shortly opening 2 outside of the country. Now, apart from Goldman Sachs and Sequoia Capital, who have already heavily invested into this company, Mr. Travis Kalanick, ex-CEO and founder of Uber Technologies, too, who, by the way, has a huge interest in cloud kitchens globally, has now invested into Rebel Foods as well. So this is how Fasos runs their multi-brand magic. When you see on the left the traditional F&B of brands like Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, and KFC, single brand, single supply, single kitchen. If you see on the right the Fasos model where you have multiple brands coming out of a single kitchen with a single supply, hence being able to remove overhead costs much better. Now, a quick fact that I'd like to share with you all. The United States of America has 75 brands that are spread across 500 locations across America. China has 40 to 50 brands that have more than 500 outlets that are spread across China. In India, the number is at 3. Cafe Coffee Day, Domino's, and Subway. That's right, even McDonald's and KFC do not still have 500 outlets spread across the country. Don't be surprised if you see these numbers change by having one of these cloud kitchens up instead of having the regular kitchens running. So what have these cloud kitchens really done for the customer? Affordability, utmost convenience. Now as a customer, you can order all kinds of exotic and regional food right from the comfort of your house. Now, as we've understood, because cloud kitchens are less capital intensive, restaurant owners like Sanjeev, who opened a cloud kitchen, are able to leverage on the fact of their savings and pass on these savings in way of cost savings to customers, hence making even exotic food like sushi, Vietnamese noodle soup, Moroccan chicken, and regional food also much more affordable to the customer. And lastly, utmost convenience. Now, this marriage between aggregators and cloud kitchens has made online ordering a huge hit and extremely convenient process for everybody here. Now imagine ordering whole wheat chicken shawarma, chicken tikka, 4-cheese pizza, and even an ice cream sundae sitting in the comfort of your home, all at the same time at the click of a button on your smartphone. Now compare this to a few years ago. If you had to order food from 4 different restaurants, imagine the cumbersome process of hoping all of them reach you at the same time, at the same place, and calling everybody and checking where your food is and ensuring that the food is coming properly. Even the ordering process with every restaurant would have been so much longer. Now you're probably wondering though that this marriage between aggregators and kitchens is all too good to be true. But if I had to put it subtly, to be honest, our relationship with the food aggregators is somewhat a mixed relationship. Our relationship moves from sweet to sour from time to time. And you're probably wondering why, right? Now, many restaurant owners of late have been actually wondering whether the food aggregators are doing them more harm than good. You're probably wondering, is there really no free lunch even in the food business? Let's try and find out more. Now, aggregator economics, if you see, brands, companies like Zomato and Swiggy are not even remotely break even at their operations. Now, Zomato and Swiggy, though you look here, they both have received huge, enormous kind of funding. Swiggy is at almost 1.5 billion funding, and this is of early this year. Both these companies are losing at an average monthly 30 to 40 million US dollars. Although brands and restaurants accept that their orderings have gone up, that their online orders now because of the delivery apps has moved up by about 30 to 40% after tying up with these people. Initially, when these companies came in, they were extremely aggressive and they were looking only at top line. They didn't really bother much about profitability. India was a new market, and they were trying to cut each other's market. So they were just trying to grab market share. But now, everybody is becoming more particular about how much money they're burning. Now, all these aggregators are leveraging the huge pool of available restaurants and using them to fund a part of these discounts. Everybody knows gaining a new customer in India, it comes at a huge cost. So these brands are now leveraging all the new pool of cloud kitchens and restaurants that are cropping up all across the city and the country to use to get them to spend money so that they can fund a part of this discount. Customer data masking. Aggregators don't share with us any user data. To be very honest, no matter how many orders I sell in a day, I really don't know who my customer is. I don't know what they're ordering. I don't know who's ordering what. I don't know if there's a particular customer or a set of customers who have been ordering for the last 3 weeks and have stopped all of a sudden. So for us to be able to understand any trends, for any business to be able to understand any trends, they would like to have the user data. But these aggregators, they share absolutely no data with us. So we are just left clueless. A lot of restaurant owners actually feel that our brands are losing brand value and our food is becoming mere commodities on these aggregator apps. If we look at deep discounting, the National Restaurant Association of India, maybe some of you are aware, are on major loggerheads with all these delivery aggregator apps. Discounts between 30 to 70%. These distort the market. And They're unable to let the market grow profitably. A lot of small startups and thousands of restaurants across the country are now suffering because of the policies of deep discounting which is happening by all these aggregators. The parameters used for ranking and listing a restaurant on the partner app are really inconsistent and Bible. What happens here is very often the success or the order volume of a restaurant brand depends on the visibility of a partner app. Typically, when you open an app to order some food, you're usually going to be looking at the top 10, 15, 20%, but do you even realize there are more than 70, 80, 100 restaurants which are down? So what is the algorithm? Or what is the functionality of this process that helps us come up? Even rankings, ratings, there's really no consistent formula or consistent mechanism which is able to control and explain these to us. Most importantly, private labeling. Now, all the top aggregators were quick to realize the significance and the growth of cloud kitchens in our country. Uber and Zomato are building cloud kitchens across the country where they are inviting restaurants like us to come and partner with them under an exclusivity. However, Swiggy has built their own company called Swiggy Access. What Swiggy Access is doing, they're also allowing and they're also inviting restaurant partners to be a part of their kitchens. But what Swiggy is doing as well, Swiggy has built their own private labels. So Homely and the Bowl Company are two brands that are actually owned by Swiggy, and Swiggy is now aggressively across the country taking them across all their cloud kitchens. Now Swiggy has data like nobody has data. For example, Swiggy has data that Hinjewadi area in Pune has the maximum biryani sale. Swiggy also has their own access cloud kitchens in Hinjewadi. It's very easy now for Swiggy to be able to tap into that market for biryani simply by using algorithms to use their brands to move up. So every time you go in Hinjewadi or open an app and you type biryani, what if that's the first consistent name that you keep seeing? Probably it makes you order more. So this is an unfair advantage that restaurants feel now is in the hands of these aggregators simply because we don't have any data from them. Now with three major players in the aggregator cash guzzling business fighting for market share, the worry has only begun. I'm going to share some news with you which might surprise some of you here. There is another global entrant waiting on the doors of India to enter into the competitive delivery market here as well. Amazon. That's right, the world's largest e-commerce portal is set to enter the cutthroat delivery market in India. Now, everybody knows that Amazon, like they did against Flipkart when they entered the e-com market, came into the market extremely aggressively. Confirmed reports have showed that Amazon has a war chest ready of 3,500 crores ready to take on the Indian market. That's Amazon, and that's how they might want to look a year or 2 years down the line with Swiggy, Zomato, and Uber as well with them. And the battle for food delivery supremacy is going to be an exciting one coming the next year. Now, this brings me to a really significant question that I would like all of you to ponder on. Is the kitchen really dead? Globally, online food aggregators and analysts feel in the next 10 years, food delivery is going to be 10 times the volume of what it is today. What global analysts also feel that even in India, by 2030, most meals that we actually prepare in our own homes will actually be coming from online ordered food. They don't think we're only going to order occasionally, but they actually feel that we might be ordering up to 3 and 4 times a day from these aggregators. Also subscription models for lunch and subscription models for dinners. What I truly believe though is that the pace of growth of the online food industry in India is fueled largely due to discounting, that means affordability, and yes, also obviously convenience. But we all know that these discounts can't stay forever. In fact, in the news that came just a few days ago, Zomato went on record to claim that they have halved their monthly burn. From the original $35–40 million that we saw, Zomato has now stated that they are burning only $20 million. So my question is, what happens next? Everybody believes that with the huge advent of orders and with the huge advent of food coming at very reliable and convenient and good pricing from outside, people might stop cooking at home. This trend is slowly catching up globally, but people feel that our home kitchens are slowly going to start getting rendered useless. So will the discounts ever stop? And what happens when the discounts stop? Will the aggregators start finally making some money? Will the customers be succumbed to order for convenience over pricing? Or will the cloud kitchens and restaurant owners finally start seeing some more margins? I don't think anybody has these answers today. Only time is going to help us. And before I close, I would like to talk about a special brand if I close this discussion. I had the privilege of being invited to the Uber Eats Summit, which happened in Hong Kong earlier this year. So at the end of the summit, there was an Uber Eats Restaurant Partner Award. Now, the last award of the night dished out a moment of surprise. The most commonly ordered food on Uber Eats Asia Pacific. Any guesses what the item was? Any guesses what the dish was? All of Asia Pacific. No, it wasn't a pepperoni pizza. It wasn't the fried chicken. And it wasn't a normal burger. It wasn't the Big Mac either. It was actually a vegetarian hot dog. Johnny Hot Dog, JHD, a 120 square feet small shop in the city of Indore, run by a 60-year-old unassuming man, Mr. Vijay Singh. That is Mr. Vijay Singh in his 120 square feet shop in Indore, and that is him in Hong Kong accepting the global recognition. Mr. Vijay Singh actually flew on his first international flight to Hong Kong to accept this global recognition award. On my meeting with Mr. Vijay Singh on day one, he told me that they had tied up with Uber Eats only 1 year before. And ever since that, they had tripled their production of hot dogs. They were now selling 3,000 to 4,000 vegetarian hot dogs online daily. Their annual revenues last year was 3 crore rupees from that shop. What Mr. Johnny Singh also told me, he's credited the internet penetration and availability of online delivery in the smaller cities of India that has enabled brands like him to come up. So finally, I would like to urge all you budding entrepreneurs out here to go out there and create your own version of the Johnny Hot Dog success story. Thank you very much.